and how we collectively can get better. I think that's one of the reasons love camp.
Paul, you've got time before the opener yet, but have you gotten some answers to some questions you might have had coming into camp based on what you've seen so far?
I think you're starting to get some answers to questions that we had going in. You know, for example, the running back spot. I think you gotta know who now is in that pool of guys that you're working with. And I think that, you know, to do those right, and I think the same is, you know, we've got a lot of young outside linebackers. And I think part of that process is, as you go through the first part of camp, you don't know how much they're going to handle it all mentally. And I think now, you know, in many ways, we're kind of that halfway mid-camp. You get a sense of how each individual is handling it. And you know, like I talked to the team just the other day, you know, the first step is to do something well, and then the next step is to try to do that on a consistent basis. And you know, a lot of focus is always on their individual position, but you know, it's our job, and I think our veterans, the older kids' job too, to impress upon the importance of special teams. And I think that's always important. If guys can get their, you know, many ways can get their first meaningful snaps on special teams. And I think there's a number of guys that are, where at least they're catching your attention, and now you've got to just see, can they do that on a consistent basis.
Paul, what stood out about Joe Tippman? You saw him the last couple practices getting some reps for the first time.
Yeah, you know, Tip is like, you know, what Tip brings as kind of the skill set as an offensive lineman. And you know, here's a guy that didn't have any spring practice, and so, you know, was kind of new to the position in many ways, but have appreciated his approach to it, and kind of that. There's always going to be an uncomfortableness when you're learning the position, and I think he's embraced that. And you know, there's good chemistry in that room. They're all going to try to help each other, and as we all know, they're going to try to find and build as much depth as you can. But I think the center is a unique one, and I think, you know, Joe does a good job. Everyone's kind of getting dual trained in some way, shape, or form. It might be a tackle that goes to both sides. It might be one individual that, you know, stays on the right side or stays on the left, but it's guard and tackle. And you got a guy like Caden, a guy like Tip. You know, Cromick has done it before. Bortolini, where you can play guard and center. That's you know, as the season goes on, that's going to be important.
Well, it seems like every year, Ferguson allows that those defenses ahead of the offensive game. Is that your assessment so far in this camp? Is heavily slanted for that side of the ball, or how would you assess that?
Yeah, I think that there's, you know, that is, I think it's, you know, this camp, I think it's been true. And I think, you know, for a number of reasons. One, I think we got a really good defense. And that's what's, you know, I've appreciated from our players is I think they all understand, you know, that any type of competition, whether it's, you know, certainly in camp you get a ton of opportunity going, you know, offense versus defense, but then even just the individual, you know, I think they're striking a pretty good balance of, you know, how can we help each other to raise that. And I think as you keep coming along, there's moments that both are having, but I think if you were to say one statement, had to put it all down on one, I would agree with that.
With that defense, what are some of the ways Sanborn has kind of asserted himself maybe as a leader in that position?
Yeah, I think, you know, Jack is, there's no doubt he's a leader on not just our defense, but on this team. And I think the way that he's done that is, he stayed true to who he is, and everyone respects him for that. He's a great teammate, you know, great guy off the field, and on the field in the, you know, meetings or workouts, he's a tremendous example. And I think, you know, you point to how you want to do it, how you want to approach it. He's got that, and brings an energy along with it, and I think he's doing it in his style, and you know, there's no question that, you he is one of our leaders, and I think we can be a better team because of his leadership.
Paul, on media day, you said you were getting a lot of questions about Graham's preparation. You said you thought Chase Wolf had good prep coming in. What kind of camp has he had? And then also, was he just resting, throwing on today? Or?
Yeah, he's. I think he's had a good camp. He's done some things well, and I think that kind of the quarterbacks in general. There's a progression to it, and I think anytime you add pieces to the puzzle, they look at. Sometimes I feel like they're handling Skelly better than they are kind of when we have half the team, and then you get the whole team, and there's more pieces to navigate. You got to find a way to still kind of keep it simple for them. And today was just a chance. It was shorter practice, and I thought it was a really good opportunity to get Danny some work, and it was a little bit shorter practice, so you weren't going to get a lot of snaps. So I thought this would be one that kind of try to hit it before it does become an issue.
Paul, we've seen Matt Henningsen throughout the years play quite a bit. Where have you seen him take a step here in his senior year, improving as a player and off the field?
Yeah, Henny's awesome to be around, and I think that he's had a great approach, and there's a mix, and even like Keanu's got some experience, but Keanu's I don't know if this makes sense, but a younger, experienced player, and so I think Henny brings some maturity to it, but he's doing it with some excitement and the energy that he brings, and obviously I think that he's kind of attacking everything that he's doing, and that rubs off, offensively. I think you feel that, and you like that, I think that he's, I know that, the offensive linemen love going against because you're getting tested, right? He's going to bring it, and I think he's really. I think Ross has done a really nice job of kind of knowing Henny and kind of playing to his strengths, which he is a smart player. Just say he's a smart person, and then how do you balance that to where you're still, he's a powerful guy, and so I think Ross has done a really nice job and. Kind of setting the table, but I think Henny's done a great job of taking that, and I think continues to do that. I think we got a chance to get our best version of Henny using his strengths, kind of literally, and kind of big picture strengths. And so he's been really good for the room, and again, kind of like we were talking with Jack, people know it and it rubs off, and I think honestly I think it helps the whole team.
Having multiple sets of siblings on the team kind of add to the familiar bond
That's an interesting question. I hadn't really thought much about it. I do know that there is a real, the bond of a team is a real thing, and I think that certainly there's a whole other element when you've got family members, but I think what I respect and have always been appreciative of this, the groups we've had, and especially I think this team's one of those that it's do you want to make that important, and if you do, then you've got to invest in each other, and I think this group has been doing that and trying to do that, and it's important to them, and therefore they're working to do that. And I think it's also it may seem like a small thing, but we were just talking about the other day, you go in the training table and guys are able to be around each other, and there's just so many things that you hope that we don't take for granted anymore, but I think it's important. I don't know specifically, with the family thing, other than obviously there is a natural closeness to it, but I think it's kind of almost, from what I get to see, it's bigger than that.
Sorry. I know it's really early for a kid like Ratzlaff from Minnesota, but he could have played hockey, he could have played football somewhere else. Now that you guys have seen him a little bit, what do you think you have in him for the future?
I'm really excited about Jake, and you're right, it is early, and yet I think that he's a guy that I think he just loves to compete, and I'm always anytime you get a guy that can compete at high levels, multiple sports. I think that says a lot about the athletic part of a person, and I think it's kind of the wiring that they have individually. But I'm really excited that he's here and part of this team.
Big Ferguson, he said he kind of adjusted his diet, changed his body a little bit last season. How was that translated to the practice field so far?
Well, I think that I think what it, I don't know exactly, right, but I think it certainly is helping him, and I think it's also reflective of kind of he's going to try to do everything and anything he can for this team, and try to be the best that he can be this year. There's a personal part of it, but I think it's driven by this team. And I think that Ferg's always a guy that he's a good player, and he's going to play a lot of snaps. And I think as he's gone on, you just try to find every which way that you can be a little bit better and gain a little bit of an advantage. I think that that diet certainly is one of them, and I think it's the whole approach and what he's doing, off the field, recovery and sleep, and he's always been fun to be around. But I've loved seeing kind of how he's got great intentions and a great purpose going right now.
Coach, what was your reaction to Jack Cohn being named in the starting QB at Notre Dame?
Yeah, happy for him.
Paul, when we seen Jack Sitchie here a couple days ago, and then you saw Bo Allen today, just what can they bring to the team in terms of even just stopping by, and obviously their knowledge and their experience here at Wisconsin, but also in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I love it when guys come back, and Bo had been around in the off season, and having Sitch being around, it's it's not just the fact they're around, but they're really open to our guys, and we'll share anything. And it's interesting to me as you go through. I introduced Aaron Witt to Sitch, and just they kind of there's some similarities. Two guys that just love football, and afterwards, Witter told me, he goes, that was awesome, and he's one of my heroes. I told that to Sitch. I said, and you guys know Sitch. It's like it's pretty cool, right? You forget, they're kind of that impressionable age, and yet I love having them be around, and you appreciate the time that they do give, and they've been in meetings with guys, in the weight room with them, and whether it's actual football knowledge or other knowledge, and it's they're putting themselves to be available, and that I've always you appreciate from what Sitch and Bo and others that come by. It's I think that's one of the cool things about a program. This program to me is all about the players, and when they come back and they can share it, and our current players get a chance to not just meet but talk with players that they know about and look up to, or maybe we got some that didn't know about maybe Bo, where they're at, and they didn't grow up in the state of Wisconsin and Sitch, but pretty quickly they realize these are special guys, and I think what they do sends a great message. So when our current players get in that position, they'll remember that, and